Welcome to Podcasting with GarageBand. This is version 08. I have not updated to the new version because I like the old version because the podcast button is really easy to find. There is another tutorial video on 10.3 at the end of this presentation, if that's the one you currently have on your computer. So I went ahead and opened up GarageBand. Now I'm going to open up a podcast. I'm going to label my podcast. I keep doing that. I can't spell dystopian today. And I'm going to create that. And it's going to open up GarageBand. Now, before you get started, you want to make sure that you have your script written, your interview questions or panel discussion questions written ahead of time. This is just good broadcasting skills. So make sure that you have your script before you get started. I went ahead and created a theme song. Just for fun, and if you want to know how to do that, I can show you that later. So it's importing my files. So at the beginning of the podcast, it's going to play. It's going to play the theme song. So go ahead and play that kind of, in the background a little bit, and you can turn up and down the volume down here. So here's where it's louder. And let's say I wanted to fade it out earlier than I had anticipated. I can fade it out there, and then I can click on the female voice here, turn the volume back up, and then I'm going to start recording. So now you can see the female voice moving across the screen. So I say, welcome to our first podcast about dystopian literature. This year in my dystopian literature unit, I decided to incorporate 3 new titles. One is Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. The second was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And the third was Neil Shusterman's Unwind Dystology. So dystopian literature is really popular right now with the students. A lot of them are reading the Hunger Games series and the Divergent series. And I think that's because our world is becoming a very scary place and we don't know what it's going to be like in the future. So similar to George Orwell's 1984, when they didn't know who was going to win World War II, and he theorized what would have been like if the Nazis had won. Because our futures are kind of scary and we don't know what's going to happen, I think that's why these books are so popular. My favorite one over the last year has really been the Unwind series, and it's about a civil war in the United States about abortion. And teenagers are sent to be harvested for body parts. It's pretty gruesome and pretty graphic, and I think that's why the students gravitate towards it. I had students who hadn't read a book in years tell me this was just the best book they've read, and they've read it cover to cover. So that's kind of some of the things I would talk about if I were to do a full podcast, and I don't want to go over 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here. But there are so many things that that you could do with this. Then you could have, click on the male voice at the same time. There's all these extras that you can get, speakers, headphones, microphones, all that stuff.